Namaskar. This is David Hawthorne at astroview.com. Today is the 10th of March, 2021. The following is the Vedic Astrology update reading for Meghan Markle, based on the 4th of August, 1981, at 4:46 a.m. in Canoga Park, California. Now, let me start by saying that my heart goes out to Meghan and Harry for the stress that they've been under the past few years. They made some very courageous decisions. But I also want to point out that there are some difficulties in the chart that need to be taken care of in order for smoother sailing in life. You can definitely see where all the stress is coming from in her chart. Now, I am using the Systemsʻ approach to Vedic astrology to interpret horoscopes. In the first house, we have the fourth sign, Cancer. This is Kark Lagna, Cancer rising. It's a water sign, it is a movable sign, and it is a royal sign. There are only two royal signs, Cancer and Leo. Cancer ruled by the moon and Leo ruled by the sun. Royal luminaries in the planetary cabinet. So Cancer rising sign persons are extremely creative. They are sensitive, intuitive, and family-oriented, and aristocratic. Their four kendras of life are movable, so they're not afraid to go places and do things. This is the Rahu, R-A-H-U, the northern node of the moon in the first house. This can give tremendous ambition, charisma, fame, fortune, magnetic personality, and make one very persuasive. Mercury in the first house gives her good intellectual and communication skills and strong desire for independence. Sun in the first house gives leadership. She takes her own decisions, not subordinate to others. And it gives wealth and status to her from her marriage. Sun rules the second house of wealth, status, and family life. This place in the first house. In the second house, we have the fifth sign, Leo. This is Shukra and Simha, Venus and Leo. This gives melodic voice, sweet speech. It also can give wealth and status connected with property and happiness and home life and fixed assets. Gives her a lot of creativity, royal creativity, because it's in a royal, Venus is in a royal sign ruled by the royal sun. In the third house, sixth sign, Virgo or Kanya, so Chandra, Shani, and Guru in Kanya. Moon at 11 degrees. Saturn at 12 degrees, Jupiter at 13 degrees. Now, Moon rules a chart, and it's got into the third house of mental development, self-expression, communications, and independent entrepreneurial ventures, and it is ruled by Mercury, which is placed in the first house. So this brings all this energy into the first house. Very strong desire for independence, taking her own decisions. Saturn in the third house says that she knows how to measure her words. She can work on independent projects, helping the elderly and the poor and the needy and working class persons. She could also work on independent projects connected with ancient knowledge, so histories and biographies. Jupiter in the third house gives her independent husband, and she can work on independent projects in counseling, teaching, publishing, and advisory roles. Fourth house, seventh sign, Libra. So Venus rules this fourth house of happiness and home life, and is placed in the house of wealth and status and family life. It's a very affluent planet. Fifth house, eighth sign, Scorpio. Sixth house, ninth sign, Sagittarius. So Guru, Jupiter, rules the sixth house and is placed in the third house. So she could have gone in for the study of law, medicine, finance, social work, psychology. Also makes her very competitive. Seventh house, 10th sign, Capricorn. This is Ketu in Makar, Ketu, the southern node of the moon, in the seventh house of relationships, partnerships, joint ventures, and marriage. So she is actually attracted to partners in life who are on a spiritual path. Ketu is moksha, karaka, significator for spiritual advancement and enlightenment. Gives her an enlightened spouse. Eighth house, 11th sign, Aquarius, Kumbh. So Saturn rules this eighth and is placed in the third. So this connects the whole eighth house of research, language, mystical sciences, and ancient knowledge with the house of independence and self-initiatives. Ninth house, 12th sign, Pisces, or Mina. 10th house, first sign, Aries, or Mish. So this 10th house is the house of karma. So it's the career, it's professional life. This is ruled by Mars, which has gone into the 12th house of foreign lands. So it connects her career with foreign lands. Mars is also considered the prince in the planetary situation. Sun is the king, moon is the queen. Mars is the prince, Venus is the princess, in the house of wealth and status. But it does take her professional life to a foreign land. 11th house, second sign, Taurus, and the 12th house, third sign, Gemini. There's some duality to her energy because Gemini is symbolized as the twin and Mars is the energy level. Now, according to Systemsʻ approach to Vedic astrology, there are 5 graha, 5 planets for the Cancer rising sign that will never cause harm, and these 5 planets can and should be strengthened to add protective covering to life. These include Sun, ruling the second house of wealth, status, speech, and family life. Moon, ruling the chart, ruling name, fame, health, appearance, personality, reputation. Mars, ruling the 10th house of professional life and career. Mercury, ruling the 3rd house of independence and self-initiatives. And Venus, ruling the house of childhood, parents, property, fixed assets, domestic peace. Now these 5 planets, Sun, Mercury, Venus, Moon, and Mars, are the fastest moving planets. So they constantly go through the zodiac, and they bring lightweight, short-lived, happy events on a regular basis, thus keeping her buoyant. But nobody should strengthen Rahu and Ketu, the north and south nodes of the moon. They are mathematical ecliptic points. They do cause the eclipse of the sun and the moon every year since the beginning of time. So if they can bring darkness to the royal luminary, sun and moon, they can bring darkness into our lives. If they are within 5 degrees of another planet, by conjunction or by aspect, then they will have an impact on that planet. So if you add 5 to 8, you get 13, and Mercury is a little bit under 12. So Rahu does have an impact on her Mercury, which is the mind and communications and self-initiatives, mental state. Ketu also has a 7th aspect on the Mercury, So this is causing some highs and lows with their mental state. Desires, non-desires. Material life versus spiritual life. I want, I don't want. So if she was having a reading from a systems approach astrologer, we would recommend the twofold planetary remedies, which is one, to strengthen the 5 favorable planets for protection and smoother sailing in life. And 2, we need to pacify planets causing adverse effects. And we do that with Bhuta Yagya and Deva Yagya, charities and chants. So those would be assigned to her on a regular basis, as per the day of the week ruled by those, or associated by those planets, with those planets. Now, let me show you where the real stress is coming in her life. Under systems approach, we never strengthen the 6th, 8th, or 12th house rulers if those houses contain a Multricone sign, because they become functional malefic planets. Multricone signs take precedence. The Multricone signs are 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, and 11. If any of those numbers fall in the 6th, 8th, or 12th, then the ruler of that house becomes a functional malefic planet, and in fact, the 8th house ruler becomes the most malefic planet. And if these two, Jupiter ruling Sagittarius and Saturn ruling Aquarius, if they are close to one of the planets, they cause serious trouble in life, or if they're close to the rising sign degree, within a 5-degree orb. Now, some Jyotishis in India would right off the bat say, oh, this poor girl was born during the dreaded Sadi Sati. That's the 2.5 years when Saturn transits before the moon, 2.5 years on the moon, and 2.5 years after the moon. So that alone is dangerous, but even if we set that aside, we say that Jupiter ruling the 6th house of conflict and mental tension, it also rules bankruptcy and divorce, is afflicting Moon, ruling her peace of mind, her emotional state. And Saturn at 12 degrees, ruling the 8th house, most malefic planet. 8th house is also known as Randra, transformations, vulnerability, setbacks, delays, accidents, and death-like experiences. So this dark Saturn right on top of her moon. So these two cause a lot of trouble for Moon in this chart. I would consider this a Papakarta Yoga, which is in the scissors. So there's a lot of stress for her emotionally, and that's where it's coming from. She was talking about being depressed and suicidal tendencies. That's Saturn on top of Moon and Jupiter on top of Moon. And technically, Ketu's 9th aspect, it throws an aspect 5, 7, and 9 houses away. Technically, it's within 5 degrees of Moon as well. Gives her a very spiritual, mystical heart and emotional state. But it also causes this eclipse. So the first remedy any systems approach astrologer would give to her is to wear a 10-carat pearl, P-E-A-R-L, single 10-carat pearl as a pendant on a chain. In my opinion, she can't wear enough pearls. Systems approach, we say to pacify Saturn, we would need to help the elderly and the poor and the needy on a Saturday. And we can listen to the Shiva chants on Saturdays. To pacify Jupiter, we would help children and students in distress on Thursdays. She can help her guru on Thursdays, or a religious advisor on Thursdays, and listen to the chants for Vishnu on Thursdays. to pacify the influence of Ketu on Moon. She can donate to animal shelters for stray dogs on Thursdays. She can help holy persons on Thursdays, holy man, holy woman, spiritual organization on Thursdays, and Ganesh Puja on Thursdays. Best of all, she could wear a mystical pendant, a silver yantra known as a kavach or kavacham, which means protective shield. I would also recommend she wears a 10-carat red coral gemstone from Mars that can hang on the same chain or pendant as the pearl. So you take a pearl and a red coral, hang one from the other, and wear that as a pendant, along with the mystical pendant known as a kavach. She could also wear an emerald gemstone if she wanted to strengthen her Mercury. So my experience over the last 30 years is if we do the twofold planetary remedial measures for our horoscopes, then we have smoother sailing in life. We have more protection in life. Without this knowledge of systems approach, without the proper remedies, people meet with the destiny in the chart, and they do have the same problems in life recurring over and over. This is why they have multiple health problems, financial problems, mental problems, relationship problems, because nobody ever fixed their chart. So if we do the twofold remedies, we can come out of our difficulties, strengthen the favorable planets, and pacify those planets causing adverse effects. So my heart and prayers go out to Meghan and Harry, but this really explains a lot. Saturn ruling the 8th house of death-like experiences, most malefic planet, and Jupiter ruling the 6th house of conflict and mental tension, also a functional malefic planet, afflicting Moon, along with the 9th aspect of Ketu. So this is a flat tire over here. She needs to put air back in the tire. She should wear a lot of white wherever she goes. It was interesting, I noticed in that interview she was wearing all black with a little white, some white patches to it, some white floral on it or something. But it was black. That's Saturn, right on top of Moon. You can tell a lot by the colors that people wear. Okay, I hope this reading is helpful. I certainly wish her and her family smooth sailing in life, some good progress. Namah Shivaya.